Okay. Wait, I always have to click the got it. And like I left my charger back at my parents' house. So it's alive. My laptop is alive. But I'm like, we're gonna inch closer. So I have it on really dark. So if you do see me squinting forward, that's because I'm trying to like save my energy from not using the like lights, the brightness. So just thought I'd tell you guys that if you guys are like, I always think people are gonna like judge every single movement I do and be like, why is she leaning closer? And I'm like, people just don't even realize, man. But anyways, that's just me. Okay, so for today, we are gonna work on we're gonna do our family signs. All right. So there's not as many, but so like we're gonna do those, and then I'm going to start kind of describing a few other things. Like I'm gonna explain how you do pronouns. Super simple, super easy. And then we will go to start on probably W question words and then places. So it's kind of our start. The places we will also, if we don't finish, we will move on. Like that will continue on into our next meeting. That's just kind of how we go with these starting 3 classes. So, okay. So the first sign obviously is family. So the sign for family is 2 F's, and you start in what kind of thumbs and you go family. And it's because if you think about it, it's like a circle, your whole, like all your people in a group, family. That's actually really kind of the basic generic sign that you would use for family, like not family, a group. So like, for example, class, like class would be class. For words like team and group, it's the same thing. What I actually tend to do, which is kind of funny because it's always kind of how I usually try not to, is using those letters to kind of determine which word I'm meaning. So I'm really not explaining this great. Basically, like how I used to say, like, for words like review, like you can do the R, you can do this, and there's more of that signing exact English with that R in there to really emphasize it. For when you're trying to describe groups, I too tend to use more signing exact with that because it does help. Because for us, we know group, team, class, those are completely different settings, different situations. And for like, and I mean, they're the same way in a deaf culture, obviously, but they can pick up on those clues that kind of make it faster. Like we're not faster, but understand it. Whereas with just using these certain letters, make it go, we pick it up easier. I'm trying to explain this and I'm not doing great. Basically, so for class, because it's a C, so class, this is also just the sign for like a group of anything. So like group, like this is the more ASL group, team, class, any of those kinds of words. For group, I do the G's group. So it's the same thing, but just with a G, group. And then for team, trust me, I understand. I got 2, and I had to check on them when I heard. I was like, oh no, they are so competitive with other dogs. They're like, I have to bark louder than that one. And thankfully they didn't hear. But so team is T's. Now this one I do see more often in ASL. I mean, group is, I see all of them kind of equally. I see just using this as class, group, and team, and then this as team, group, and class. So both are accepted. Okay, my phone turned off. Sorry, that's my list. Hello, phone. Okay. Anyway, so that's kind of this sign is kind of talking about a group of people. They can be related. They can just be like a group of friends. They can just be a classmates, teams. I know I've really gotten a long time talk on that. We're done with that. So now we're going to go on to mom and dad. So mom is going to be the dominant hand, mom. You want your thumb on your chin, mom. So then dad is going to be up top, dad. What you'll notice is that any male sign is going to be up top. Female signs are more down here. That's just kind of how it is. Someone tried to be like, oh yeah, because boys tend to wear more hats. And then a girl in my class made a joke, so what, girls have more beards? Like I couldn't stop laughing. I thought that was so funny. I was like, that is terrible, but that was funny. So, I mean, I don't fully know why it's male and female, but that's just how it is. So then we have sister. So sister is going to be, you're going to make these 2 L's. Your non-dominant is going to be a sideways, and then your dominant is going to start at your chin. and it goes sister, sister, sister. And you want to, my thumb kind of does go more sideways. I tend to always stick it out when I show, but then when I sign it, I go down. So if you see sister, and you want them on top, so you're not going like next to each other, it's on top, sister, sister. Then we have brother, same thing, but from your forehead, brother, brother. Give everybody a minute to write. I know I talk fast and writing can be horrible with a fast talker. Okay, and then we have aunt. So aunt's going to be an A right next to your chin, aunt. Super simple. Again, that lowerness. And then we have uncle, so U up on your forehead, next to your forehead, next to your head. Then we have cousins. So this is a non-specified gender, cousins. So basically, because it can mean all your cousins. And but if you're talking about like a specific cousin, you can use the cousin, like girl cousin, boy cousin. Exactly. Yes. But this is kind of used for like, if you're just saying, yeah, my cousin goes to the store, I worked there before, or something like that. You know, it's not, gender's not very important in that context, just cousin or multiples cousins. So then, don't turn off on me, phone, I saw you. Then we have grandma and grandpa. So grandma is going to be this, and then you bounce it out. Grandma, grandma. And there's multiple ways you can see this as. I see it as a lot of things. One, I can see the form of the M. I feel like I'm bouncing an M, like, you know, M for grandma. I don't know why that in my mind has logic, but it does. And then there's also, I think about like descendants. So like you have mom, like woman's to mom to grandma. So, and then we have, I know I saw the cat too. It's animal times. Okay. It's okay. We're all here for that. So then grandpa's going to be at the top of your forehead. Grandpa, grandpa. Funny story, just a little short one. One of my favorite things I love with my kids is when they talk about their grandparents. I had this one student during my internship, and we were talking about either his grandmother or grandfather. And he loves to be dramatic with signs. And he knows them. He just likes to add a little more to them, make them a little more extra. And to really emphasize how old his grandmother was, he kept going, Graham, and just kept doing this, like it was just dragging him behind. And I thought it was so funny. He just literally, I mean, he made that face of like, oh my gosh, it just keeps going. I can't stop. And I just laughed so hard. So I thought you guys would have a little fun little story time with that. So then we have for son and daughter, we have, what we do is we use these signs for boy and girl first. So, sorry, trash can, dog, smells something in there. It's very full. I can tell he was about to flip it open. I was like, no, we cannot do this. Anyways, so the sign for girl is going to be our thumb and goes girl, girl, girl. Boy is going to be our, yes, the cap, the baseball cap. So boy. So when you are saying a son or a daughter, you would go, like, for example, daughter, you would go girl and then move to a baby. So daughter. And I'm making that really dramaticness, but obviously it's more relaxed. So daughter, and then son is the same thing, boy to baby. So a lot of times people do ask me, what are the signs for granddaughter and grandson? I've asked people because I've genuinely also been curious. I've not really seen a clear, like, this is the same thing, like how mom and dad are. And I was talking to a few people about it, and one of them was telling me, well, some people do just fingerspell granddaughter, grandson. Another person will do like grandma, and then go daughter. Like grandkid. That's kind of either way are kind of accepted. I always tend to fingerspell. And that's just for me, just that for me gives me a more clarity on what I'm actually asking. But she says, but I see both. They're kind of normal. Both are kind of accepted. So, okay, then we have husband and wife. So the sign for, I love how I always start from wife. I don't know why. I think I just like to say, because I have a brother, I have a sister and a brother. They're twins. My sister is 3 minutes older than my brother. But because of, even though it's 3 minutes, I always see it as myself, my sister, my brother. It's not myself, my sister, and brother. No, it's myself, my sister, then it's my brother. And I think I just have this thing where I'm like, sister has to go first, brother goes second. And I do that with like, girl has to go first, boy has to go second. So I don't know why I keep, but I do it. Because I even do it when I like, you can hear it when I like, when I voice, I say my brother and sister because that sounds more English. But then if you notice when I sign, I go my sister and my brother. So anyways, for, I totally forgot which word we were using. We were going to, and wife, that's it. So wife is going to be, you're going to have your non-dominant kind of open palm, your dominant here, and go wife. And it's just kind of like an open, very open C. Wife. And then husband. Same thing, but from forehead, husband. And usually your non-dominant's more lower. It's not so out, you're not going outward like this, you're going down, but you can't see it when I do it like that. So, okay. Now for stepchildren. For stepchildren, you finger spell the word step, or stepchildren, stepdad, stepmother. You finger spell the word step, so S-T-E-P, and then mom, stepdad. The sign for children is children. It's like you're patting their heads, children. So sorry, my dog is literally just walking around. He's kind of annoyed that I didn't give him enough attention before this meeting. So that's why if you keep seeing me look back, that's because I'm trying to make sure he doesn't get into something he's not supposed to. So there we have stepchildren. For in-laws, like mother-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, you sign the same thing. So mother, and then I've always seen in, which is the actual sign for the word like in, like I'm going inside, I'm going in, I'm joining in law. So you have your non-dominant is palm sideways, dominant's the L shape, and you tap it. Law. So that's kind of what I've seen for like mother-in-law. That's, I mean, you can always just finger spell it as well, like mom-in-law, and both would be accepted. Okay, let's see. Any other family member signs that I did not show you or that you can think of? Is there any, or y'all think that's good? I try to think of all of them and go down the list. Oh, if you have like half siblings, that's, you just finger spell half sister, half brother. That's just kind of one of those. All right, let's see. I'm trying to sit here and think and make sure I get them all. I always worry I'm gonna forget one.
What if you have like a second cousin? Like I think it would be, there's probably signs for all of those places and numbers, but I think it's technically like a first cousin once removed, but we always say second cousin because I have a really big family.
So I was sitting there because I don't know why, but I started seeing more like pictures on like my Facebook and Instagram about things like, here's the description of your family relations and the meaning of second cousin, because apparently that no one knows when it, like what's the who's your actual like supposed to be your second cousin. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And so I was like, I wonder how I would describe that in ASL. I think, because like I have not had a chance to ask anybody about this, but I'm pretty sure you would just say your so for second, third, fourth, fifth placement, you would do the number and then you shake it kind of like this. So second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So I feel like if you were gonna say your second cousin, the And then if you said cousin second, it might be your like second cousin, like your actual second, like the number in the line, like you have 4 cousins and the second one is this. I feel like you could say second cousin, and you might have, if it's really important that they know it's not your first cousin, I would feel you'd have to try to describe it.
Okay.
Like this, like the family situation.
Gotcha.
I know that would be a lot of explaining, but
a lot of them are so young that we're just like, I'm just your cousin, like it's fine, but it's really like my cousin's kid or my cousin's like cousin on their side. So there's a lot of us. So
yes. And one, I think in ASL, they're just like cousins. You're all cousins. We're done here.
All cousins. That's fine.
Yes. So all right. Are there any other signs or kind of questions you guys have about family signs? Are we good? Good? Okay. So now we're going to move on to, I was going to have a little brief discussion on pronouns. The reason I wanted to just kind of address these is for a few things. One, I'll address these for a few things, is one, like explain them. So for he, she, her, him, them, well, yeah, them, they, sorry, I'll explain why I'm sitting here going like this, but you really don't actually have to be gender specific when you're pointing to something, when you're talking about a person. You would just point to them or you describe them. So like you see her, and then you would, if it's really important, like, you know, important to say like who would be like the girl, you know, she's sitting there, she's dressed, and we're gonna have a descriptions class lesson later on where it helps explain this. But just kind of for now, you know, like if you're saying like your sister's standing right here and you're talking, you're saying she has 5 dogs, you go, she has 5 dogs. So you don't have to be like finger spelling she and then trying to be like girl, her. No, you just point. Even though I don't know if your mother's taught you this, my mother did. It's not polite to point. Well, in ASL, it's A-okay. So that's how it is for that. If you're saying anything like theirs, hers, or his, you would do the hand motion of this. Like it looks like you're saying stop, but it's showing that it's yours, like theirs. So that chair's theirs, not mine. I don't think I've shown you guys the signs for I, me, and myself, and like my, so I'll show you guys those as well. For in typical ASL, I and me are like the same, which is just this, pointing to yourself. If you're trying to get more signing exact English, you would do I, where you just pull the I to you. Yeah. A lot of people do this. And so that's kind of normal too. So this also means I, but this can mean I go to the store, you know, me, whichever that works. For mine, like mine, my, it's this, mine, my, that's my dog, my cup, mine. Sorry, there's a bug. For myself, his self, herself, their selves, you have the thumbs up and you want your your line knuckles to go like this is yourself, and you just kind of tap on yourself like, so myself, I will do this myself. For his self or herself, like you're saying, like I say it all the time to my kids, you have to do it on your own, you have to try this on your own, and it's the same thing, but now you've pushed it towards them, so it's yourself. And that goes for, like I said, it's not gender specific. So that's literally any of the him, them, theirs. If it's all of someone, well, before I get to all, let's go back to they and them. If you were talking about more than one person and it's theirs, so, or it's them, depending on how many they are and where they are in location. So for example, if I'm talking about 2 people, I'm going to probably use the 2 and I'm going to go these 2. You see, I kind of shake these 2, kind of these 2. They have school tomorrow, something like that. If there's like 3 of them, then I'll probably go 3, 4. You can also just go them, just one finger, them, go across. They have school. That's kind of how you do for them, like them, all of them, like they. If it's something like it's theirs, you do like theirs, theirs. And again, I'm not trying to get, I know I'm like very talkative about, I got to explain these things, but if you're in a group, like imagine you're standing, we're all standing in a circle and you're talking about two people's there, like it's their car, like, and there's two of them, but there's like 8 of us, but so we're all around, but there's only 2 that are actually theirs. You would go to theirs. So for example, if there's one here and one here, you would do theirs. If they're next to each other, you go theirs. If there's like 4 or 5, you go theirs. So you see, I did, if they're separated, I bounced it. I was like theirs. I didn't say it was theirs. I said it was theirs. And then if it's like more like it's an actual group across, then you do that sweep. So I'm trying, I know it's like, well, I don't really care. I'm not going to probably use it often, but that's just kind of how it is. Not that how it is. That's just, I wanted to give you guys that information. And then for we or ours, we starts from your shoulder, like your dominant shoulder blade, and you go across we. So this includes yourself. Almost imagine you're making that circle of everybody involved. So like you're standing with people. So we. If it's ours, you would say ours, like it's ours. It's ours, ours, ours. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. I know there's a lot longer of a blurb because I realized I don't ever show his or herself. So I was like, oh, I got to show you guys that one. So, okay. So now we're going to do our, no, we're not. We're going to stop and we're going to go back through our family signs real quick. I realized I was just going to keep going and going. And I was like, no, we need to give them a break and review. Okay. So family, family, family. And then we have group, class, group, and then team. Perfect. Okay. Mom. Mom. Then we have dad. I'm sorry, I did lie. I'm about to add one more. Parents. It's super easy. I promise. It's not a big difference. Parents. It's just both. You just kind of bounce them both. It doesn't really matter if you start from dad to mom, mom to dad, either one's accepted. So I just thought I would add that. So then we have sister. Sister. Yes. So it's those 2 L's. Sister. We have brother. Brother. Then we have cousin. I was gonna say, I hope we get this one, you guys. It's so easy because you got that C going. All right, then we have daughter. Yes, girl, baby. And then this is obviously the sign for baby, if you didn't notice. I didn't clearly say that, but baby. Son. Yes, good. Okay. Aunt. So the A next to your chin. And we have uncle. Perfect. And you want to, again, shake that U. So it's not just like it's the shaking. Yeah. I do it very small, so it's easy not to see, but yes. Let's see. Husband. Husband. Yeah. And then we have wife. Wife. Good. My dog. Sorry. Henry. He gets angry, and right now he's mad, and he's trying to chew on my flip-flop for outside because he knows that if he does this, I will get up and do something. So I'm having to kind of keep an eye on him. Let's see, another family sign. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, he's about to go for that shit. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. He really he looked and he's like, you want to see how far I'll go? And I had to stop him. Okay. Then we have, what other families do we do? Family signs. I'm not going to do the steps, the in-laws, because those are more that finger spell besides in-laws. I think that was all of our Oh, oh yeah. Grandmother, grandfather. See, you guys got them. We got this. Okay, now we'll move on back to our pronouns. Well, yes, our pronouns. Okay. I'm not going to be too judgy on them. And the reason I say this is because there's a lot of these words can mean this one. My, like mine, myself, mine, not myself, mine, my, I or me. Mm-hmm. And then myself. It's that thumb. Yeah, myself. And you almost want to pretend like the thumb is the one that's like that's pointing to it, like your like thumb print. Myself. He, she, him, them. Right. And then we have theirs, his, hers. Close. So it's the open palm is for theirs, his, hers, or theirs. For themselves, them, themselves, herself, his self, it's this. But I mean, it's not going to be like, I have no idea. Like, they're not going to look at you. I have no idea what you just said. They're going to realize you mean that person. So, okay. Now we can move on. Well, first off, how are we feeling? Feeling good? Good. Okay, perfect. Okay. So now we're going to do WH question words. And that's kind of how we call them is WH question words. And I love how I say it because it just, I guess that's what we've always learned, but like, I've always learned you just say them all really, really fast in one go. Who, what, when, where, why. And that's like how you say those words, who, what, when, where, why. But in ASL, we just go WH, like WH question words. Okay, so we'll start with our little group. So for who, I'm sorry, she heard something. Who is, well, real quick before I get into them, one thing you have to know for, give me 1 sec, I'm so sorry. Okay, we're good. She's staring out the window, purposely waiting for something. Okay. Anyway, so I was gonna say is for WH question words, it's very important you have your eyebrows go down. You may think you're looking mad, but that helps you know that helps the other person know that there's a question involved. So you'll notice, and I wanted to say this now, because when I sign them, if you think I'm going like angry, I'm like, there's a reason. So our first one is who. So who is going to be, you're going to have this L, thumb is going to be on your chin, and you go who. Who. You can do this where it's just straight across. That one's also used. Or you can bend it in an X. I learned it with this one, so it's more natural, but this one's also accepted. Who. Who. Okay. Then we have what. It's really easy. Yeah, it's really easy. It's what. Like what? Like think about how you're like, what? I don't know what you're saying. Like you just shake your hands like this. You're like, I don't understand. So what? And then I'll give you guys a minute. Okay. Then we have where. Where is going to be like slight bent, like very slightly. And you're going to shake and go where. Where. And then I've noticed sometimes, this isn't a big deal. It's just something I've noticed. For mouth movements, I do notice more people actually do that motion of where. You know, that where. That. But that's not the big thing. I just thought I would say that where. Then we have welcome.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Like I realized when I am doing the classes, I say the words while I sign. Mm-hmm. Is that common?
So
among people like me?
So I'm going to try not to get on a soapbox because it's very easy for me to do. Not in a bad way. Just for right now, when you're learning, it helps. It's more support because it helps you memorize it better. Is what I think. It's the same thing as when you write the word, and it's like when we voice it out loud, that helps us memorize. Like when we're practicing, like for speeches, we practice, or for getting ready for a show or a play, we will voice it over and over again, and that helps us memorize it. So for hearing individuals, it does help in the beginning when you're learning the word. Because I do that. If I'm looking at a word, I'm going to go, oh, so that's the word. That's the sign for alligator or something like that. I'll voice it as I say. So that's natural. But when you're actually really trying to do more, and this is more like ASL, like 3 up levels, you do actually want to really try to keep that voice off, because ASL grammar structure is very different from English grammar structure. And imagine trying to talk in English and Spanish at the same time. It's just not possible. It's your brain just kind of wants to go, you know what? No, we're done. We're done. Just gonna go over it. So it's like, no. And that's kind of how it is in ASL. And I remember we were learning about this in like the scientific part of learning about deaf culture, is that you can't really talk in 2 languages at the exact same pristine time and have them both in the exact same level of like equalness, like clarity. One of them's always going to be a little more like correct than the other. And for me, I can see that because my even though when I'm talking right now, I'm not signing in right ASL structure. It's not right. So, but I've noticed that when I'm in my school and I'm signing and I accidentally voice or something, I actually start voicing in ASL like structure. So it says, like, I will say, like, you know, I'm trying to think of someone like, go now school, like go now PE, go now. Like I don't say, you know, you need to go now, go to PE. Like, no, I say go now. Like, so I talk in that ASL structure, so it's natural to be voicing while you're signing. That was kind of my point I wanted to say, is that for right now, when you're learning, it's good. It helps you, especially because you're just trying to memorize words. But once you have the words and you're trying to actually use them in conversation, it's kind of better to practice without voicing, because that will confuse you more. So, hope that made sense. Okay, now we did who, what, where, okay, when. Sorry, I have the hiccups. When is going to be 2 fingers, pointer. One's going to go like this, when. You go in a circle, when. When. I've learned over time that like this is also for like about, like it's about 15 minutes. And I think what's a really big difference is that when you're saying about or something like that, your eyebrows, they stay about 15. Where when you're saying when, like the party, when, eyebrows down, when. And then for who, what, when, where, why, how to make sure I get them right. Why is going to be, there's actually a couple ways you can do why. You're gonna start here and you're gonna go why. I always end in a why. Like I'm gonna turn it sideways so you can see, but you go like this, why. Another way you can do it is you can just do your middle and go why. It's just the middle finger pulls back, why. I have seen some going why, and they'll do that open mouth again, why. My students do that. My boy does this, and I'm like, dude, please. He likes to be, you know, that lazy. I'm a cool boy. Why I gotta do this? I'm like, so that's him being more. But I do see that one also often as well. So those are accepted for whys. For how is going to be, you have your 2 fists like this, and then your dominant, I mean, non-dominant can work too. I always tend to go dominant because it's more comfortable and natural. Goes how. So how. So for example, how are you? You want to say anything for are, you just go how you. And then does that make it sense? Do you guys understand how? Sorry, that one's just a weird one and people always get stuck, and I've tried to make sure I can show the motion easily. That's why I check. How much or how many is you go how much. You start with fists and you throw them up. How much. How many, like that. How much. Which. You guys are getting all the question words right now. Some of the other classes have only gotten the 5. So For which is gonna go like this, which. I'm sorry, I have a spinny chair, and I'm one of those people that like, if I'm not like constantly moving, I just get like a little chaotic. So like, that's why if I keep moving like this, it's because I'm on my spinny chair. But which is which. And I didn't tell you guys, I apologize. So for the question words are always going to go at the end of your sentences. That's very important to know. I should have said that when I talked about the eyebrows. So for example, if you're saying, what is your name? You would first go, your name, what? And that is really just to help that other person you're talking to know that they need to give a response. Oh, there's a question involved in that. At least that's kind of what I was told. Like I've been told is how it kind of, and I mean, it makes sense, you know, it shows, oh, I have a question coming out for this. So if you're saying like school is where, you go school where. And we're going to learn place signs. We will. So you guys can actually do what I'm saying. I'm just trying to give you guys examples. For the sign for which, what you do is you actually sign like both the options. So you go like, you would say like your favorite animal, cat, dog, which. So that's kind of how you use is you would say the two options and then you would go which. I tend to make sure also which way I'm doing is one is this way, one is here. So it's not like I'm going cat, dog, which. I'm like cat, dog, which. If that makes sense. Okay. For yes, no questions. You don't really have an actual specific signs for, I mean, you have signs for yes and no, but I mean, like, you don't have like specific question words you have for yes or no. Because, you know, it's like, oh, you have school today, right? You have like, oh, you like work, you work here, right? You know, I still love how I'm saying right. You work here, yeah? Or I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I keep adding that right there at the end. It's not there. But like, you know, you work here. Do you work here? Oh, you're here. For questions like that, you sign the sentence and your eyebrows will go up. So for example, I'm like, if I'm asking you, do you like school? I'm like, school, you like school? Eyebrows go up. I know it looks like I'm like questioning, like, really? Are you sure about that? But no, I'm asking you like school. Yes and no. The sign for yes, I don't think we've gone over this, but yes, it's a fist and you bounce it. Yes. Just imagine nodding head. And then no is going to be your three fingers you're going to use. The top two are going to close onto the thumb. No, 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 no. So just nope, 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 nope. For maybe, I see really, well, we kind of already do when we're like, not sure. We're kind of on the line. We're just not, it's not bad. So this is kind of, this is more that maybe. Okay. So what we'll do, because I know I gave you guys a lot. I gave you guys a lot of stories. We will go back over our question words, starting with our who. 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 Either one works. Who. What. What. When. When. Good. Where. Where. Why. Why. How. How. And you want to make sure, okay, I'm giving you guys another sign added in here. And the reason is just to show, I'm Miss Katie, I'm sorry, just the look on your face. I just, but, she can't even.
It's just, I never know when Jillian's going to be like, oh, you just signed like a really bad word.
Oh.
Or when she's just going to clarify something. So I never know.
She really doesn't. I feel for her. I mean, she really doesn't. There's some days I'm like, oh, let me explain this real quick. Don't do this. And then it's like, oh, this is a curse word. And like, and I can just always see the shock of being like, oh yeah, surprise. So I see where she's coming from. It's nothing bad, I promise. So you have how, and then you have sports. So I wanted just to, she's ready. She's like, what word are you about to say now? But so sports. And the reason I wanted to show this is because how is just one hand movement. Sports is both. But it can be kind of easy when you're saying how to kind of shake a little. That's why I wanted to clarify, is that how is really one, sports are both shaking. Okay. And then how much or how many? How much, how many? And then which? Sorry, I had to sit there and think for a minute. I thought I had it and then I didn't. Which? I know, I remember when I learned this, I was like, why am I shaking 2 thumbs up? Like, and now it's just kind of natural. I look at them like, which? So, but it feels silly until you realize, oh, wait, that makes sense. Okay. And then we had our yes, no. Yeah, yes, no questions. So yes. And then no. And then maybe. And a lot of times, obviously, yes and no's you can get through even if you like forgot the sign, because just nodding your head still yes, shaking your head is still no. So if all else fails, you still have that. Okay. How are we feeling? Are we feeling good? Are we feeling kind of because this is also in like maybe so kind of, yeah, that's the same thing for this. So I totally missed that because I saw myself do it and I realized I had to explain. So we're feeling good? Okay. So we could start some places today. If that works for y'all, y'all good with that? Would y'all rather just kind of go ahead and keep learning some more signs? Or are you like, I need a break? What are y'all feeling? Like which one? Which are y'all feeling? More? Okay, yay. Okay. Sorry, I just get excited. Okay, so the first one we're gonna do is the one I do all the time. You probably could already know it because I've signed it so many times tonight, and it's school. School. Yeah, so school's tapping. And you know what? No, we will not sign the word paper yet. You don't need to know it. That's not an important one right now. I just like to always, when there's signs close to each other, I'm like, well, you gotta also know this one. And then you gotta know this one. And then before we know it, I'm like 20 signs different, like over from where I was supposed to go. So we have school. I make it my goal to now make sure this is like at least the second, if not like the top 5 fifth sign, because I forgot this one the very first class I taught. Like I forgot to give this sign.
Actually, I'm pretty sure you forgot it more than one class. But I'm just gonna say that one.
Sign for library, you guys, which is really sad because this is involved from the library. So the sign for library is an L, and you go in a circle, library. But she's right, I do forget this one. I don't know why. My brain just is like, no, we don't need to talk about the library. And then Miss Katie's like, where's the library? And I'm like, so library. Then we have work. Sorry, that's my dog. He's that kind of needy dog. But work. So work is going to be 2 fifths. Non-dominant sideways, dominant is like this. And then you go work and you tap it, work. That can mean literally any of the the meanings for work. So like I'm working on this paper, I work here, that's my work. So that one is used for that. For the hospital, you're going to have your non-dominant side of the arm and your dominant hands here. You're going to have a kind of an H motion and you're going to go hospital, 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 hospital. You're trying to do that. Now that I'm focused on it, I feel like I'm not doing it right, but you're making that plus on your arm motion, the hospital, the T, the hospital, the symbol we have. So hospital. For store, the sign for store is going to be, you're going to have your 2 hands kind of looking like puppets, but really sad and bent down, and you go store and you shake them. And this is for any kind of store. So a clothes store, grocery store, yeah, any of the kinds of stores. If you're talking about a specific store, you would use the word to clear. So like food store. So this obviously is food, what I said, so food. And then clothes store, you would go clothes. Clothes store. Clothes store. Okay.
You need to do church and chocolate.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So church
That's
and
my
chocolate,
favorite.
they're very similar signs. That's why she said church and chocolate, because I'm like, I'm sure you're like, wait, why are these two the same? So church is you're going to have a fist and then you're going to have the C and you tap it, church. Chocolate is the C on top of your hand, but now in a circular motion, chocolate. And it's just a funny ongoing joke because church and chocolate are so similar. It's so easy to mess up. So, I've actually had some conversations with kids where I accidentally would sign, oh, you went to church, and they're like, no, I didn't eat chocolate. I'm like, oh, church. And they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, so, okay, let's see. And then we have church, school, work, for specific places. Let's see. Sorry, I'm drawing like bathroom, very important. We know bathroom. There are two signs for bathroom. One is one's a very professional sounding one, like restroom. Not a lot of people say, where's the restroom? And that's kind of the way this one is. And you go restroom. You have R's and you go restroom. That one's kind of, I always was told, more the more mature one, proper, but I don't see that one often. I really do see this one more. And this one is, you have a T and you shake it back and forth, bathroom. And my teacher said the reason that this one is not the more mature, fancy one is because this T stands for toilet. And then you're shaking a toilet. So you're like, need the toilet. And she said it was just, it got to her that it was just not professional. Like, I was just like, everybody says it, toilet. I'm like, what's that? I always laugh because whenever I sign it, all I think about is the word toilet now because of her saying that's the word. All right, so we have the restroom, kitchen. Wait, no, house. Sorry, house. Don't write kitchen yet, house. Because I was like, I'm staring at my kitchen. That's why I thought. So house is house. House. So imagine like being like your little child and you draw the triangle and then you draw the square. House. Home. I don't think we've done this one. Home. So home is going to be kind of like that, not really an O, but it's like that fist. And you start from your corner of your lip and you go back to your ear. Home. Home. And I'm going to give you guys one more. I'm sorry. One more, and that's not a location. And that is deaf, the sign for deaf. And deaf is going to be, it's like your D. You have your D, but you're not like screaming it deaf. It's just kind of relaxed. You start here at your corner of your lip and you go back to here. Basically like how we did home. Home, deaf. Deaf. Okay. Then we have, let's see. I'm trying not to do school location signs. I'm really trying not to, you guys, but it's not easy when that's all I ever do. That's all the ones I ever signed. So cafeteria, and then we'll do restaurant. So cafeteria, which I know you guys are totally gonna have to use like every single day, right? It's gonna be a C. You start on the opposite side and you go cafeteria. So you want to start across from you and then go down and go across. And then the sign for restaurant is the same thing, but now with an R. Restaurant. I have seen restaurant, but this one I do see this one more. Restaurant. And that's actually from the motion of when you eat, you wipe with a napkin, and you always see them dabble here, restaurant. Okay, let's see. Other places. For park, you finger spell park, where you kind of go like the area. This is time for area, any kind of area, like this area here, the park. And then for playground, it's play area. So the sign for play is play. It's two Y's and you shake them, play, and then area. So play area. There we go. Okay. So sorry, Miss Katie typed the ones and it helped me remember. So for the police, you have a C, like as in cop, and then you tap it across cop. Cop. And so if you're talking about the police station, you can say like, I'm going to the police. I've also seen go police and then the sign for place, which I haven't shown you guys. It's a very awkward one. I apologize. It's been fun me describing. You have your K's that are technically now P's. You're going to have them sideways. You start away from you and you go make a square. So place, place. Yes. Oh yeah, I didn't have to stand up and awkwardly lean over so you guys get the aerial view. I do that every other time. I'm like, you guys gotta show you. So place. Yes. So that's for any kind of place. So if you're just saying I have to go to this place, go to place. If you want to be secretive, but most of the time you're more clear. For like the fire department and like the not emergency, but fire department, it's that same motion, but here on top of your forehead. And that's because if you think about it, the helmet has that little sticker, but you know, the like symbol of the fire department right here. And then you say fire department. This one's not a location, but it's, I mean, I guess it could be technically, but the sign for emergency. I just thought it'd be a good one. And then I will try to stop because I know we're cutting close and I'm just throwing out signs. So emergency is 2 E's and you go emergency, emergency. And you don't want to go up and down because this is like exercise. So emergency, emergency, like emergency. Okay. Yeah. So let's try to do a quick one more. Which one? Okay, so to ask, are you hurt or are you okay? There's a lot of different ways to say it, just like there are a lot of different ways to say it in English. The fastest one is really 2 of them. One is saying you, like point to you, okay, you just do okay. Or this one is more, I've seen this one a lot, used always a lot more, especially because it's a little more personal, I guess. Not personal, but personable than just, okay, you okay? It's, are you all right? And so all right is you have your non-dominant. It's not completely sideways, but it's like diagonal. You can see slightly up. And then your dominant hand goes, all right, all right. Yeah, almost like imagine you're trying to like, you know, the fancy way you're supposed to cut like fruit, like veggies on a knife board is just not supposed to go chop, chop, chop. You're supposed to go like this, smooth. I don't know if you guys learned that. I took culinary in high school as well as also I took ASL. So like I just made those connections in my mind all the time. But so all right. You all right? All right. And if it's serious, then that's when you would go, okay, you okay? Wrong, it's time for wrong. What's wrong? What's wrong? You just go, well, wrong, what? Those are some ways of checking on people. Okay, so very, very quick review, very quick, very quick. We have school, Then we have work, And it's okay if you can't remember because I went through them really fast. I know I did. So work. We had library. I almost forgot it. Library. We had house. Home. So you start from you start from the lip and go back home. Home. Then I showed y'all death. And then store. Then I'm sorry, he's just being pathetic right now. He's okay, I promise you guys. Then we had the police station. Police. Then we had the fire station, fire department. Then playground. That one too, yes. So we had playground, so play area. And then we had hospital. I usually don't add that one. That's why I forgot that one. I'm glad I'm remembering that. I'm glad someone reminded me of that. And then we have the restroom or bathroom. Then we have cafeteria. And then, or really more for y'all, restaurant. And then we had place. That I know it is, this one is just kind of, you're just like, wait a minute, like I have to actually like look at where my hands make that motion. And I'm like, if I stare too long, I'm gonna mess it up myself. So place. And I think then you okay? Are you all right? What's wrong? And then that. Okay. So how are we feeling? I know I really just kind of flooded with those last signs all at the end.
What's wrong?
So well, that's why.
No, why wrong?
So wrong is going to be, you have that Y and you go across your face. Wrong. You just like a chin. Wrong. And then you do wrong what? If you've noticed, I end up doing what's wrong. Like I'm doing like wrong what? Like I don't go as clear what's wrong. And if you think about it, it's kind of like how we have conjunction. So like saying, because it's really what is wrong, but we don't say that. We say what's wrong. What's wrong?
It's so funny because it really is like listening to yourself speak French and then a French person speaking French and you're like, I sound like an idiot. And it's the same, it's literally the same concept. Because if I was going to say what's wrong, I'd be like, what? Well, like just like a huge.
I can always see whenever they have.
I have to learn subtlety.
You do. And you have to be like, and that's why it's always important to try to look natural with signing, because it's so fast to know if you're not. Because like you get choppy. And like with ASL, it's just like, it's supposed to come off like how we talk, like kind of natural and, calm. And I remember when I was first learning it, it was like, hell you, like I was so aggressive with my movements. Everything had to be like a whole body movement for it. And so now it's just like, how are you? Like I literally sit back, I just look at them and I go, how are you? Like how are you? Like I don't even try to like, how are you now? How are you? And the same for good morning. For my internship, because for good morning, it's good morning. And then when I started internship and I was trying to be polite, trying to, be like, okay, I gotta be nice. Every person I saw, I said, good morning. And it was so stressful because I would have things. I'd have a backpack on, I'd have my phone in my hand, my keys, and I'd go, and I have like a water bottle and I would just shove it all into one arm and go, good morning, like this. And then they would respond, good morning. Just it. Good morning. There's no other hand. Good morning. And I was like, I've looked like an idiot for the past like 3 weeks, just going. Because I literally stopped in the middle of like my walkways to like the building, because we have like different buildings. And I would just shove everything into my like nook of my arm and I'd go, good morning. Like I felt you had to have this whole big deal. And then everyone's just, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm like, that might have been nice.
It sounds like it pays to be observant.
It does. It really does. You just watch and you're like, oh, so that's how I really picked up, was when I had my internship with my teacher, because she is deaf herself. And I just watch her conversations. I may not understand what she was saying, but I was like, oh, she did it that way. Oh, and I've noticed I do what she does.
Y'all, one of the things that we talked about with the previous classes is eventually trying to have a get together where we have a silent dinner. And like with COVID and like, people not wanting to eat out, like maybe we just make it like a, I don't know, maybe we could meet outdoors or something. I just feel like it'd be good to get together and meet the other classes and also just to practice. But so, that's something that maybe this summer we'll try to do so that we could at least get together and like practice on other people. And
yes, because that's where you really
see if we can be understood.
Yes, because that is true. That is really where because you can sit there and stare at your mirror and stare at yourself signing going, oh, I am so good. Like, yes. And then you go up to someone and you say that one sentence you've practiced over and over and over again. And usually it's like, how are you? My name is blah, blah, blah. And then you finish that and then they're done and you're like, oh no, now I have to like actually figure out another sentence. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know this right now. That happens very often and it's very funny to me.
It reminds me of I learned to play the mandolin a couple of years ago. And by like I learned to play the mandolin, I mean like I technically know how to do it. But if I were to play something, I would have to say, okay, I'm about to play Froggy Won a Quartin, so that you would know what I was playing on the mandolin. Like I feel like it's
you're listening for that specific thing. Yeah.
I took on these like projects or like I'm gonna learn a new language, I'm gonna learn a new instrument, like all at the same time.
Yeah, for us, I feel like we've done like it's like numbers, family, finger spelling. Like we've gotten through those 3 for like 4 different classes, and we're like, we got it on family and numbers and finger spelling. And then after that, we're kind of like, oh, you want to have a conversation? Overwhelming. I don't know. So
yes, trust me, I understand. That's why I know I go fast, but I'm like, at least by the end of this class, you'll have recorded videos of other sides. Like you're not going to just always have, oh, my family and my numbers. Like, no, I'm going to have, because we usually go through animals. We do descriptions of like how you would describe a person. We don't always do colors, but that's because I have
we have that color video.
Yeah, I have a recorded video of me signing the color, so you have that opportunity. We usually go over, what else do we go? We go over kinds of like food. So like the different types, like, I mean, detailed, like you ask me any kind of like your favorite food and I will tell you if it has a sign or if I know it. Because there's so many different types of food and I'm not going to lie because I'm a very picky eater. I don't always memorize those words.
I have a good challenge for us for the next class is find something in your everyday life that you have to figure out how to have a brief conversation with someone. Like people come up to me and where are your DVDs? How are they arranged? Like I have to figure out, can I say, here's where our DVDs are? They're alphabetical or whatever.
Like a basic conversation you would have.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good challenge.
Or like, where can I get coffee? And I'd have to figure out how to say, you can go to the pharmacy or like, I don't know, be finger spelling a lot maybe.
I usually like, I'm sorry. That's
Is there a sign for bagel? I mean, you can go to the bagel store.
You know, I've never seen an official sign for bagel because like I like bagels, but like I'm not always asking where's a good bagel spell. Yeah, I bake because that's why the finger spelling is really important. Like I feel like I always am like finger spelling is so important. But it's because at the end of the day, you're trying to sign something and you're like, I know I can say I can, oh, I don't know the word for help. You know, you can finger spell to still have a conversation. So that's why I'm always like, finger spell. It's so big, but yeah. So I like that challenge. I'm trying to also look at what we also learned because because during the holidays, I would do holiday signs, which I never taught you guys the holidays. I promise I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not like I'm not building it, but like I usually teach the holidays when I talk about time. So we will definitely need to go back for that. And then like we'll do like seasons and stuff. So we will build. There may be a lot of signs. Yeah. Just remember and keep in the back of your mind that you have videos. They are recorded. This is why you get to see my fun self every single time you need to know a sign. So awesome. But all right, we did definitely go over. So we will let you guys go now because I know you guys got other things going on. But thank you guys for joining. And